You're listening to America's First News with Matt Ray.
The jury having reached a verdict, Ms. Guyger and your team, would you please stand? We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Amber Guyger, guilty of murder as charged in the indictment. No outburst. And it is signed by the presiding juror, who is juror number 11.
Now you can hear the cheers in that Dallas County courthouse after a judge announced the guilty verdict in the trial of former Dallas officer Amber Guyger in the shooting death of her neighbor, Botham Jean. Let's bring in our guest this morning. He is a trial attorney based out of Texas, New York, and California. James Bell joining us. James, thank you for joining us right here on America's First News. So, James, we know she's been found guilty of murder, but the judge did rule that jurors may consider manslaughter and not just murder. Obviously, you can't go into the heads of jurors, but what the difference there in why they found him guilty of murder versus manslaughter?
Sure. Well,
Our connection is pretty bad. Let's try to get him back on a clearer line there if we can. Thank you. Among the developments, the judge did rule that jurors may consider manslaughter and not just murder. They were also looking at the possible castle doctrine, which is similar to Florida's stand your ground. So that allows a person to use force in the protection of a home, vehicle, or other property if someone attempts to forcibly enter or remove an individual from the premises. Guyger, for her part, she maintains she thought she was going into her own apartment. Wrong floor, but she thought she walked into her apartment, saw Botham Jean there, and claimed self-defense and shot him. The jury yesterday found her guilty of murder, and they will continue deliberations today. She could get anywhere from 5 to life behind bars under Texas law. Okay, we have our guest back. James, thank you for joining us as always.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we got into a little bit about the judge saying, look, jurors may consider manslaughter, not just murder. Also, the castle doctrine. Take us through the decision to charge her with murder as opposed to the other two.
Sure. The decision to charge with murder, obviously it was a grand jury referral. So it goes to the grand jury, and you have anywhere between 16 and 23 citizens. There's no defense attorney allowed in the grand jury, which is a secret room downstairs at the Dallas County courthouse, and the prosecution presents its theory of the case. It's one-sided, and the grand jurors come back and they vote true bill or no bill. They came back and voted a true bill, meaning that there was probable cause to charge Amber Guyger with first-degree murder. And so if the government, the state, the government has a case, they're going to go forward and there's going to be motions to dismiss, et cetera. But ultimately, the prosecution's office left it to 12 Dallas County jurors to decide Amber Guyger's fate.
In your experience as a criminal defense trial attorney, have you ever seen a case like this where an officer legitimately walks into a wrong home, she thought it was hers in her defense, and opened fire on the person living there? I mean, I can't recall ever seeing something like this. What about you with your experience in dealing with trials?
No, absolutely not. I've never experienced it. I don't think it's, I don't think it's anything that's beyond the realm of possibility. I think everybody that's lived in an apartment complex, especially in Dallas, Texas, they're kind of cookie cutter. You get off of the same floor. They're all filled up, and I think everybody's gotten off on the wrong floor. It's just a tragic accident.
So she's looking at, I believe, anywhere from 5 to 99 years under Texas law. What's the judge considering when you have 5 to 99 years?
Well, the judge is not, the jury's deciding punishment. So you haven't heard the prosecution in their closing argument in the punishment phase. And so it's going to be, it's the gamut. Obviously, the defense is going to be arguing for closer to 5. The defense was praying for a manslaughter. If they were going to get a conviction, they were hoping it would be manslaughter. If it's manslaughter, Guyger would have been probation eligible. Since it's not manslaughter, she's not probation eligible, even though this would be her, her first offense. It's the first degree, she's not probation eligible. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she can appeal this. I would imagine that would be her first. That would be the first thing she does.
Yeah, but look, it was a question submitted to the jury. Appellate court is not a fact finder. The judge in this case wasn't a fact finder. Appeals aren't really that successful. She's lucky she's got she'll have some help paying to have an appeal done. I think the greatest chance for her on appeal is going to be the fact, the judge making discretionary calls and excluding certain evidence from the trial that would have been favorable to the defense.
This obviously it will continue today. We'll check back in with you. This is, as we just mentioned, James, moments ago, it is something the both of us have never seen. So, this is going to be looked at for a long time. Yeah,
of course. It's the antithesis of the Castle Doctrine, accidents. The city's already being sued. I haven't heard one shred of evidence about, her walking in with any kind of premeditation. It's a tragic. The kid is dead. Miss Jean is dead, and it's awful. And she wish that he's back here. But the idea that somebody is liable for an accident and could potentially life in prison, it's going to do a lot of things for the future to police and gun laws.
Yeah, and like you said, 2 lives ruined. James, we appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, James Bell is a trial attorney, criminal defense trial attorney out of Texas, New York, and California.